Hi, I'm Tisha Christina, and I am a woman of today, positioning myself for tomorrow, and I'm known as a life architect.
So I'm so excited about this episode. This episode is like near and dear to my heart. This is like my sister. Like
Blood, not blood.
we blood at this point. So backstory, me and Tisha met roughly around like 2017, 2018. It was a very prime time in our lives. I had just started New Atlanta. Tisha had just started her company Half Past Honey, which we'll get into a little bit later. But we were just hitting the ground running, and we were connected by our dear friend Tyrone King. And most people don't know, me and Tisha actually got more closer and joint, like our sisterhood got joined by grief because Tyrone passed away roughly like a year later, 2019. And I actually had to be the one to give Tisha the call, and then Tisha had to be the big sister and comfort me in a very hard time like that. And ever since then, we've been locked in, but like locked in on a heavy tip.
Yeah.
So Tisha has been like a huge impact in my life. So I just want to say thank you. I don't think I've ever like told you thank you for just the sisterhood that you continuously give me. You're literally like my big sister. So I'm happy to have you on this show to talk about everything we talk about on the phone. But I remember when I first met you, and you know, we good for a story. So I was like, who are you? Like, tell me your story. What do you do? And I remember the first thing she told me, she was explaining her graduating college. And you just said you graduated. And I remember this key moment you made. You mentioned everybody else was heading to go party, but you were on a flight to go intern in New York for a major publication. So before we get into everything you do now, take us back to then, when you graduated.
So when I graduated, it was like very monumental because I did not know what I wanted to do with my life a year prior to graduating. Thought I wanted to be a lawyer, took the LSAT. I was like, yes, I'm gonna be this lawyer. And then my professor was like, if you don't like this last class in your senior year, then you don't need to go to law school, like you're not ready. So at that time, I changed my whole major like a year before graduating to journalism. And literally loved it. So the creative side, just doing all the design, everything. And so I really wanted to be in magazine journalism, and the counselors were like, they were saying, no, you can't do that because you won't be able to get the credits for it. Like you won't be able to specialize in magazine journalism. So I was like, okay, next thing. So journalism, I decided to do the written side, the print side of everything, because I was already designing as a hobby for the Daily Mississippi. So went into print journalism, and then I went to a professor, and I was like, well, I want to be your intern. Like maybe I can't get the specialization, but maybe I could be your intern and still learn everything magazine. So he took me under his wing, and he was like, okay, you're going to do this for me. I'm going to teach you all you need to know with magazines. You can sit into my classes on your free time. So I did it. Like I wasn't getting any credits, anything. And so it was this one class, he was like, you can sign up for this class, it's over the summer. So we did a summer internship to basically where he took all of the class, and we went to Hearst Corporation, which is this big magazine. Cosmo is there, Marie Claire, just everyone. And he told me, as just like his intern, when you walk into this building, you cannot be nervous. So I'm nervous right now, but I'm not nervous anymore. So he was like, you cannot be nervous. Make your connections, network. So that's where it all started, the magazine passion.
And how old were you?
19, 20 years old. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in, make connections. So at the time, the editor-in-chief of Cosmo was there, just everybody. So I'm like, little black girl from a little small town, like I gotta make this work.
Yeah.
So told them who I was, wanted to do an internship. They were like, okay, we'll be in touch. So fly into my senior year, I still stayed connected, power of, staying connected with people, telling them I wanted to do an internship. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, after college. I didn't want to go to grad school. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, okay, maybe I could just go with him and figure it out. Didn't work. And so then after that, I would say 2 weeks before graduation, I got this call and they were like, Tisha, do you want to intern and do the sister company called Trend in New York of Marie Claire and Cosmo? And I was like, yes, I want to go. I want to go. And they were like, so when can you be down here? Graduation was in May. So of course I was like, anytime you want me to. So I'm in a sorority and graduated that night. Everybody was out partying. I'm at home packing up, sleep. People calling me like, you're not coming out? We just graduated. No. I flew to New York, I would say literally less than 8 hours after crossing the stage to go work for Marie Claire and Cosmo for their sister company. And ever since then, I just had a passion for magazines, fashion, hiring, which is where I am now, scouting, all that kind of stuff. And so I kept that near and dear to me, and then had some family, personal things go on, so I had to go back to New York. And I was like, what's the next best city, which is in Atlanta, but there's no major magazines. So what was I going to do with all this creativity? And I created Half Past Honey. That's how I met Milan.
Okay, hold on, because this takes me to the point where you said you titled yourself life architect. And to me, it seems like a life architect is someone who just kind of like knows all the pieces to build. And so at 19, 20, what was it in you that knew that I'm not about to party, I'm about to get ready to get on this flight and take my life to the next level? Like, what was that quality that you think it was for you?
So I think it goes back to my mom for sure. And then also knowing that I came from a small town, Americus, Georgia. Most people joke it's really small.
I heard
and I know that I knew at that point I didn't want to go back there because there wasn't any work to be done. But as far as work personally, I could be this figure for little girls who dream about magazines and fashion and creative stuff. So I just had the drive to want to do more and not be, I would say, settle in this small town.
So basically it was the small town haunting you, like, I'm not going back there.
I'm not going back. I got to figure it out. And of course my mom was like, okay, you could always come back home. So that wasn't a problem, but I just knew it was bigger things out there that I needed to do. So.
Yeah, I swear those small towns will haunt you, because I lived in Huntsville, Alabama for like 4 years, and that literally like pushed me. It like pushed me.
It's like, what's there?
There's no way I'm staying here. I look at the people and I'm just like, So I can relate to like getting out of a small town.
I had to keep it going. And then Ole Miss, that's where I graduated from, it's a small town too. So it's like a whole nother world. How can I make myself accessible? And then back to the guy who I was interning with before getting the internship in New York, he's like, you don't have to live in New York. You just need to figure out how you can get back and forth and make yourself relevant in big cities. So that helped too.
Yeah.
So you leave a big city like New York and come back here to Atlanta. So what was that like pivotal moment for you? Like you say when you were leaving college, like your senior year, you didn't know what to do. How did you figure out you wanted to do Half Past Honey, but not on the scale of working for somebody else, but making something of your own?
So when I got back to Americus, Georgia for maybe like 3 months, I was like, I want to do something creative. Like there's nothing creative here. So the urge of creativity was like eating at me. And so everyone in New York was like, well, if you want to come back here, it's going to be really hard. Like if you leave, it's going to be really hard to come back. So then I just really sat down, tried to figure out how I could get into a creative space in Atlanta. I even did an internship volunteer for free at Modern Luxury, which is another magazine here. And just trying to put myself in those areas to try to get something. So I would say I went probably like 4 or 5 months after New York, just put myself in a job just to say I had one to get money to come to Atlanta. But I think I sat down with my mom and was like, I want to do something creative. And she was like, well, create it. And so Half Past Honey, Honey is my great-grandmother's name that they used to call her, and we look just alike. So I'm like, okay, what can I do with that? And so I'm just writing in my notebook names, and then boom, Half Past Honey. But then Ty really helped me like pull it out. Like, what do you want to do with this title? And so I remember it was like yesterday. We were sitting there and he was like, well, you want to do stuff to help creative people. You have this journalism background. You like to tell stories. Boom. do it. So I started inviting people to my house, like random people on Instagram.
It started at your house?
Yes. My
Wait,
little
the apartment
studio.
in Cumberland?
Yes, my little 565 feet studio.
Shut up.
Inviting people to my house.
And you
to
painted
do,
the wall
like,
yellow.
Yep,
didn't you?
painted the wall
yes,
yellow.
Yes, I
to like
remember
create
this.
the scene and interviewing musicians and like creative people and women in
Wow, I
Atlanta who
remember
I
this.
never knew, like
Yes.
just random people with boutiques, city councilwomen, like just random people.
Wow.
And just interviewing. And then from that, I found the love in music. So I'm like, okay, I can't sing or any of that, but I am going to bring creativity into one space. So Half Past Honey was born, and that's what I started doing, just having one space where creatives can network and just really talk, have music, independent artists who've never even like said anything beyond the mic in them in their room.
Yeah.
Just really creating that space.
I love that. And around that time, we were so like hungry.
Yeah.
Like we talk about it now and we laugh at it of how like accessible we used to be
To every single event in Atlanta.
to every single event, but to every single thing and opportunity that came our way. Like, mind you, and Tisha still worked a whole 9 to 5. We would literally she would get off work, we'll get invited to, it's Atlanta. So
Yeah.
it's all these like networking events, it's all these things going on from sun up to sundown. She would literally clock out at 5. We would literally meet up at 6:37, be out till 1 a.m. just for the sake of like just being
Network
so,
and like in it.
yeah, just so hungry to just say like to just be out there and push ourselves and our brand.
Super hungry.
And then do it again the next day,
The next
and the
day.
next day, and the next day. And I think what was like a pivotal point in our career, especially in our life, just as women, is when we got comfortable with saying like no. And when we were okay with knowing that we don't have to be here and we don't have to attach ourselves to these things to make us feel at the end of the day that our brand or our self-worth is like valued on that level.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
That's something that I still struggle with today, like the power of networking and like, what does it look like? Does it look the same for everyone? Like, is it always about going to a mixer and like walking up to someone and telling them like, because I'm not a super be in the crowd, outspoken person. I know how to get in and create something, but networking has always just been like lost on me.
Yeah. I think we always found spaces, one, that we felt comfortable. Like we never actually put ourselves in positions or spaces where we felt like we weren't wanted or our opinions or brands weren't valued.
Okay.
It just came to an extent of like the balance of how much networking are we doing versus how much executing are we doing. Like,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so you go and we would do like literally 8 events. I remember one time.
No, this doesn't sound real, but I swear
8
this is
events,
real.
we go to like, I remember, I counted it, 2019, we did like 18 concerts in 1 year. So you're like, how in the world are y'all like going to concerts, going to events? I'm working a 9 to 5, like tired. And we're still like showing up to the point to where now it's like playing on your mental, like I'm tired.
Yeah.
And we just got to a point to where it was like, we have made a name for ourselves. Whether it's, oh, this is Milan, this is Tisha, we continue to network across. So if I knew someone that could help her, I would tell her, vice versa.
Yeah.
But it was like, we got to slow down and we got to execute, because I feel like in this world, it's like, oh, I'm going to this event, but what's the purpose behind it? Which goes back to Life Architect. It's like, why am I doing this? Does it have a purpose? Is it going to build on to that next thing that I'm trying to create?
Yeah. And
So.
even playing on or even getting into the part where it says it's playing with your mental, we knew it was serious. I don't know if you want to get into this, but when you literally had a panic attack.
Yes.
Like,
What was the panic attack like? Like what?
So it was just a lot coming. It was like your creative side talking to you, your personal things coming at you, your work endeavors coming at you. So like all of this stuff like zoning in. and you don't realize it because you're always on go.
Yeah.
And you always appear to everyone that you're okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom. Like I didn't even see it coming.
Was it like a shutdown? Was it like heavy breathing? Like
It was just out. Like,
Yeah.
and then that's when I started identifying, like, wow, I got to take me a little bit more seriously. Like, showing up for everyone else is cool, but I got to figure out what I need. And I got to be vocal about it, because I don't like to say when I am sad, tired. I'm just saying yes to everybody.
Yeah.
So you could be happy. Like, I guess I'm a servant leader in that sense. It's like, let me say yes, let me show up. Even if I don't feel like it, I'm gonna go for like 1 hour. So you know
Just
I was
to say,
support.
yeah.
I was the support
Dang,
for
that's a
you,
good friend.
and then I'm going to go home. So when I met you, I'm like, bye. And you were like outside going, and you like, you're leaving already?
Yeah.
It was our second time meeting each other, and I was
Okay,
like,
good.
at the event.
because I was tired, and I knew
Yeah.
I had to wake up. Like, I'll tell them, like, girl, I got to be up at 9 o'clock, and I'll come, show my face, be supportive, and then go home so I can do what I need to do, and then jump back in the creative space. So,
But I can say now you have really adapted to like a healthy lifestyle and a healthy way of living and balance. So what does your schedule, like what does that look like for you now? Like from sun up to sundown?
So right now I would say I'm waking up between 6 and 7:30, and I have like 30 minutes of nothing. So I used to
What time
be
you going to sleep?
sometimes like 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Waking up at 6:30.
yeah, 6:30, between 6:30 and 7:30ish. And I used to roll over, get my phone, and just see what's like going on. Now I'm doing 30 minutes listening to like gospel music. My mom sends me like worth sharing text messages, and it's like Bible verses to like get me grounded before everybody start coming at me, because just with the nature of my 9 to 5. Or I'll go on a walk. So, and I got that from Milan, because she be going on walks. So I'll either go on a walk, and then once I do that, my 9 to 5 is human resources. So it's still in the creative field, interior design. And what I'll do is just check my emails. And of course, I'll send my good morning text messages to my family or friends. Whatever like my spirit is telling me to do, I'll do that. And then make me some coffee first, and then breakfast. And then I'll go into my day. Usually my day is from the 8 o'clock mark. Sometimes it'll go until 10 o'clock at night. But I'll do like my 9 to 5 from 9 to 5. And then I have like an hour break to like switch it, and then I'm on to the creative side of things. And so with that, it's either I'm creating an event for Half Past Honey, or I'm studying for a new venture, or like brushing up on my craft. So I love watching YouTube University. And then if I'm not doing that, then if it goes into the weekend, checking on my grandma, trying to see how she's doing. She's 83. Talking to my family and friends, and then if I have an event, I'll schedule it. But everything is very much intentional now. So whereas I used to just go and then planned around it, it's very much, if it's not on the calendar, I can't go type thing. And so I think my friends have been very receptive, because I had a fear of it being like, dang, I haven't seen Tisha in a while. What's she doing? But they're very receptive to like, no, I can't go, or no, I'm tired.
Those are good friends.
Yeah, because we know Tisha, let's be clear, this girl does not have 1 job, 2 jobs. This girl will pop up, hey T, how you doing? Good girl, just working on my 4th job of the day. We're like, T, what? And like, they be full 9 to 5s, or like full committed projects,
things.
like your new influencer campaign. Like, where do you think, like, how do you, most people say like, you know, it's that quote of don't let 9 to 5 use you, use it. So how do you think you like have mastered that?
So with the 9 to 5s, I've always been told by my mother again that my 9 to 5 isn't going to give me the fuel to hold my creativity. So she says, use the 9 to 5 until you don't need the 9 to 5 anymore. So the 9 to 5 that I have, like my real job, that's what I call it, that healthcare, pays the bills, etc. But then I have other side situations where as I'm being the brand manager, the social media manager, the influencer, that's where like my creativity shines. And so I've always just told myself each day, put something into me because I'm putting into something else or making someone else money.
Yeah.
So how can I make myself feel better financially, personally about what I'm doing? So with that, I used to have a fear of, girl, you're doing all this stuff, but everything really connects itself. Like, nothing does not make sense of what I'm doing, whether it's the goal that I'm trying to get to or it's the creative place I'm trying to get to.
That's what you said earlier, like in the sense of like not letting it use her, but definitely using everything, because you have certain goals and you're just like, okay, this is for this job is for this is gonna last for 3 months, and then, you know, on to the next. And people are not doing it right then. They're not doing it like you. Like they're letting it become them and getting consumed, and then really just getting kind of distracted or worn out, versus saying like really categorizing it and using it as building blocks.
Where do you think you, not to cut you off, where do you think you've learned like your financial literacy from? Like you're so good with like structuring out your money, and especially like in minority upbringings, that is something that is for sure not taught to us, like at all. And you make it very clear that you have these financial goals for yourself, whether it's at a certain time in your life, at a certain age. Where do you think you get that inspiration from? Or is it self-taught? And like, what are some tips to other women or people just in general that you could give?
I think one, for like the financial piece, it's just knowing that I want more for myself. And in order for me to want more, I got to do more. So I don't have time to be lazy about it. And it's just me. So like when I think about the things that I sacrifice, it's like, okay, it's just you. How are you going to move this? Like, life is not checkers, it's chess. That's what they say. So how are you going to make this work? And so my mom is a financial advisor. And in the beginning, I really didn't, I wouldn't say didn't listen to her, but I didn't take it as serious, like money. It's just like, oh, I made this, now I'm going to go get this. Or I made this and I'm going to go get this. So that used to be save to get something. And so even that mindset has changed to where it's like save for future Tisha. So I'm at the future Tisha now, but it was more so, oh, I want my Jeep, so I'm gonna save for my Jeep. And now that I got my Jeep, now I gotta start all the way back over again, which is hard. So now I would say that the drive comes from my mom, but it also is more so of like, I want more. I see myself in this space in life, and it's not just the materialistic things. It's like, I want to see the world. I want to be able to, most people say I want to buy my mom a house. Like, I want to buy my mom a Range Rover. So I'm like over here working, like, how can I make these plays? I can get this girl a Range Rover.
So many people I know even for me for a long time, like, are just intimidated by getting their finances together. Like, we weren't taught anything about it growing up for the most part. And then you get to be like 22, 23, and you're like, ooh, I'm scared to check my credit score. Or, ooh, I don't want to look at my bank account.
Or you don't know nothing about it.
And then so you just do nothing versus just checking it out, like reading something on YouTube, just to even like push you a step further. And so I feel like with you, have you always, like your mom being a financial advisor, you kind of always had something in the back of your head like finances?
That's what I'm saying. I never did really take it. See, it was more save, get something, save, get something. So every time, and my mom and me just had this conversation, every time I would get a promotion, every time I would get more money coming from whatever way it came, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move in Atlanta and get my dream apartment because I deserve.
And I'm walking through there every day like, hey, we're here.
I'm gonna make it look pretty. And then, okay, boom, check, that goal is off the list. Now it's like, what else do I want? Now it's like, what are things that I can do to kind of really spread this out to invest? Like if I create something, long term, if I create something, am I just creating it for this moment in time, or am I creating it for the long haul? Do I want to see this 2, 3, 4 years from now, or is this just something that I want to make a quick $1,000 and then I'm done with it, and then y'all never hear about it again? Because I also felt like, and Milan knows this, we get so many ideas. So it's like, if I get an idea today, Milan, no, tomorrow when we wake up,
it's executed.
It's executed.
Yeah.
But then I had to slow myself down, because this idea, how do I want it to look?
Yeah.
5 years from now.
Yeah.
So that has kind of helped too financially, because I've had goals like the candle business, and it's like, I could do this candle business. I could push out maybe 100 products, but do I just want to push these same 100 products, or do I want like a catalog of candles? And with that, I got to tell myself, I'm not ready to create this business just yet.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have to be more honest with themselves. Like, and sometimes, I know we always have the conversation, like sometimes I feel like the outsider are so misunderstood in like the field we're in, because everything nowadays is so fast paced, and people are always expecting more from you, especially when you are creative. They're just expecting you to just be on go mode with the new next thing every second.
Yeah.
And then when you realize true success really comes from, you have to be intentional, and it comes to a point to where I can't just be rolling off of every single idea that comes to my head, because I'll be burnt out.
Exactly.
And y'all will be left with nothing. Because I gave you all of me in a short period of time. And also, when we are very intentional about also not ourselves, but the community that we're serving through our work.
Yeah.
And so when it's not just about you anymore, and when you're talking about, you're creating a platform for upcoming artists or aspiring artists and musicians, and when it's just on that bigger scheme of things, you start to like scale back and just be more, engaged with your actual goals and your missions, and kind of it's you versus you. You get to a point where it's the outside stuff and the outside noise just don't really matter, but I think that's what creates structure.
So what is it that you do in your 9 to 5, and what do you love about it outside of just it paying the bills?
So 9 to 5 is a regional human resource manager. And so what I do is hire interior designers, architects, and leaders that have been in a luxury space to really just hone in on helping residential design and just globally, honestly. So I use LinkedIn a lot, so still social media. Use LinkedIn through my 9 to 5 to find random people. And I brand myself in that way to where I look like a normal person on the internet. Because a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I responded to your message that you were looking for a leader, or you were looking for an interior designer, because you were very authentic in your words. So I connect with people all day long to find the right person for the company. And then with that, I also travel around to different buildings and galleries to really make sure that, everyone feels welcome internally. So my job isn't only to find the external talent to bring in. It's like when you see Tisha, okay, she's gonna come with her training, her personality, talk about values, personal goals, to really get people remotivated again in their workspace. So the title of it, Regional Manager of Human Resources. And so I'm over 12 different galleries globally.
Nice.
And I connect with people all over the world to get them in a space to where they can do what they love with the people they love, essentially.
Yeah. And so that's natural to you, right? Like that's a big part of like what you are already doing with Half Past Honey.
Yeah, so it's natural. So reaching out to strangers, talking to them, connecting with them is something I do in my 9 to 5. So I love it. Do I think it'll be something I'll do 10 years from now? Probably not. But I'm learning and sitting in these meetings and understanding what they're talking about and just being a student, really.
Yeah.
So I can be able to take everything I learned one day and just have my own.
Yeah, that's it right there. Do you consider, like, do you like the team that you work with, or do you work pretty much independently?
So a little bit of both. So when I first started the role, it was more so working with 5 people. And so now I have 12 people underneath me that kind of basically report to me. But I kind of take the minimalist and the minority approach of just really not being all over them, letting them bring their ideas in and then figuring it out.
Have you noticed that works better?
It works. It definitely works. People are excited. People are talking to me as more so of a manager and a person.
Yeah.
And I care about them versus being just super aggressive. So it's like minimal aggressiveness. Let's talk about it. Let's understand what the objective is. And then we do it and we come back and we talk about it together. If it doesn't work, figure it out.
See, I could use that because I feel like in the last couple of years, I've been like slowly building a team for my company. And I think it's a challenge to know, like, to become their friend or become cool so that they know that you value them and that you're just a regular person. But at the same time, when it's time to put some pressure on them, like sometimes I can be called a bitch. I've been called a bitch because it's like, for example, I was doing a photo shoot and it was for my brand at the time. I'm paying for everything. So I'm paying for the studio space, the models, the photographer, any and everything you could think of on set. And the photographer, I found out that I was trying to keep him going. I'm like, hey, what's the time looking like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we good, chill. And I'm like, can't really chill. We have like 2 hours left, so I need to, give me an ETA and that kind of thing. Found out later that he like called me a bitch. And I'm like, I'm a bitch because I wasn't allowing you to just run the show, that I had to step in and like actually make things happen. And for a while that like stuck with me, like, how do you keep from getting called a bitch? Or is that just a part of the territory?
I think it's a part of the territory, not only because you're calling the shots and you're up front the money, but it's also, I feel like, because we're women.
Yeah.
Like, me, I'm the youngest African-American person in this role in this company.
Wow.
So with that being said, I'm gonna be called a bitch too, like probably behind doors, but it's just like, what you're trying to create and you have to stay focused on that. And if you can't, I would say the person that you're talking to or you're being a mentor to or that's coming along the journey with me, if you can't understand why I'm saying what I'm saying or why I'm being so proactive with what I could see possibly going wrong, then you may not be the right person for this group.
Yeah.
I tell mine that all the time. So it's like, and so as the boss, and I'm not gonna say girl boss, but as the boss, like we just sometimes have to swallow it. And one of my really, really good guy friends is like, it's not about being nice. This is business. Like you're trying to develop something, create something, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So with that, I always try to be nice and show myself friendly, and I treat people as people first.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're on this team because we have a common goal to do X, Y, Z. And my job as the person in charge is to keep us going towards that.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes you have people, I'll say the ones that say something bad about you that may hurt your feelings. I do turn the mirror around to myself sometimes.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, he didn't like the way I said X, Y, Z. She didn't like the way I said X, Y, Z. So now that's two people telling me the same thing.
Yeah.
And so as a little girl, my mom said, well, if two people tell you something more than once, then something got to be true about what's being said.
Yeah.
So is it that I'm saying the wrong thing or is it my delivery? And so now I can change my delivery, but I still want this to be done. I'm just going to come at it a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, that's still you being a leader. And
that's being able to check yourself or reflect.
Yeah, because that's a whole job.
Or everybody can just be sensitive and they need to get their life. Like that could be.
That too. So, yeah.
Well, no, what you're saying? You're saying about that's being a leader is being able to.
Yeah, just knowing like the fine line between when to show your leadership. Like sometimes that does mean checking yourself versus the other person, but also I think also being a leader, a female leader in this industry, is also knowing, and it takes time because you have to, I feel like, go through experiences for it to kind of sit in, but knowing that you for sure 100% are going to get tried for being a female, a woman. Yeah. Just knowing that off rip. Secondly, if you want to add in age and want to add in everything else.
If you're pretty.
Oh my God, the list.
Woman of color.
Yeah.
The way you dress.
Yeah.
Everything.
The attention you receive.
Mm-hmm.
every single thing. And just knowing that and knowing how to still show up your best self and like with grace, and still giving yourself grace and still giving people grace too, because people just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But then knowing when to.
Yeah, sometimes people
Tisha
have
be like,
to,
cut it off now.
Some people gotta go. It's like,
I love it.
Yeah.
You
No,
are
seriously.
here for, like, some of us, I would say, look at it as a tree. So back to life architect, right? It's like, you plant this seed, you water it, it grows, it grows, it grows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're getting ready to transition into fall. Leaves are gonna fall off, roots are gonna stay, trees are gonna grow.
That's so deep, T.
So it's like, okay, I know that I'm the tree, I'm growing these branches. Some of the branches are like my solid day ones.
Yeah.
Some of these leaves are only here for summer. And although that may sound mean, it's just like, you're gonna fall off, and I love you, but I gotta.
But you
keep
have to
going.
know your point. You have to
No,
know you're the
so
tree.
true.
I think you have to know you're the tree.
You got to know that you're the tree and not the branch.
You have to know you're the tree, not the branch. Because
That's true.
you have
Self-worth.
You have to know you're the tree, and you have to know that
Self-identity.
when it's something as precious like your business, I'd be like, my business is my baby, and y'all don't understand, and like that. But it's the truth. Like, all of these things, all these pieces move, like, not 100% solely because of you, but to an extent. Like, this is yours. This is your prized possession, and you can extend the hand and extend your resources and extend the opportunity as much as you want to whoever you want. But at the end of the day, y'all ain't filing these taxes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't paying this
Yeah.
business renewal. You ain't paying for the photo shoot. You ain't paying for the models. And it's not even from a financial standpoint, but you get the point. Like, at the end of the day,
Finances matter, yeah. But it's
at
not
the end of the day, if this fails, like,
It's only you.
It's you.
me. It's like me.
Yeah.
And then as I'm growing, I'm seeing things differently. So whereas today I wanted 10 people in this photo shoot, I may wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I only want 3.
Yeah.
And so now how do I get that to be the new reality for whatever I'm creating? And it's okay, because as you grow, you change.
Yeah.
And everything that was with you in the beginning of phase 1 of your creativity
Yeah.
is not going to be with you at the end phase
Yeah.
of whenever you think. Look at Serena Williams. Like, she's a totally different athlete
yeah.
now versus
Yeah.
when she started with her dad.
That is so important to learn. One, that it's okay to shed and let go. Like, we had all the hair that was on our hair when we were born. Like, what would we look like if we weren't
Yeah,
shedding?
yeah.
Like, if the body does things naturally, why is it emotionally and psychologically we don't follow that? We'll hold on to things forever just because of the sake of saying, I don't quit, or I don't mess up, so I
Yeah.
can't say that. Like, when you let it go, it's considered a mistake, or
Yeah.
you know, when change happens, it's considered failure. And it's like, why don't we let ourselves do those things and say, yeah,
Or
you
look at
gotta
it as
go.
it's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's deep right there.
That is deep.
I'm letting go of a lot tonight. Thanks, Tisha. No, seriously, I think that is a theme in my life, of being able to let go of, you know, thought patterns, people, habits. Yeah.
And I think it's letting go, and also like trusting yourself as I'm gonna always go back to this thing, as the tree.
Yeah.
And just knowing that
Yeah.
people every person that's a branch or a leaf, like, they're still gonna implement what's best for them and their vision. And just, especially as a woman, I feel like getting comfortable of knowing that, of how to tie it back in to your soul purpose and your soul beliefs of how you envision this brand to be, or how you want it to be, and not getting so caught up. Me and Kayla, even, we have this conversation all the time with our personal lives and business, of just how to, like, always learn how to scale it back and center it into you, and not getting so caught up with everyone's
The
like,
distraction,
yeah.
the noise. And
Opinions.
to that point, it's like everyone is going to have a vision of what Tisha should look like in their mind. Milan is this person in their mind. Kayla is this person.
Yeah.
And it's like, one, even though I may portray this on the outside, you really don't know what it takes to be me. And so in that exchange, I'm going to stay true to what I want to do, even though you may think it's cool for me to go and be.
I feel like that's what I battle with so much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I call y'all every single day about this topic, like every single day, because I just feel like sometimes just so misunderstood, just because I can also feel, like I'm an energy person, I can feel people's like visions of me and what they want me to be like and what they want me to do. And also in today's society, like social media and all these things, like everyone's always just, you know, pushing it on me to be more in front of the camera but I'm like, if that's not naturally me, if it doesn't feel natural to me, I'm not gonna do it. And then with me saying no, I think, are also going against the grain, because more people will lean to that in today's society to get more exposure or whatever the case may be, because I'm not so keen on it. I stand for it, I love it, but I have to do it in a way that feels organic to me. Yeah, like this. I've been telling Tisha about getting in front of the camera since 2016, 2017. It's 2022.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's okay. I feel comfortable now. And I'm doing it in a space with people that I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
I could have been, you know.
Yeah, you could have been doing a lot.
Yeah.
but it wasn't your time.
Yeah.
Your time at that point when everyone was telling you, maybe it planted the seed for this moment.
Yeah.
And it continued to linger with you until now you feel like it's my time. But just because someone says, Tisha, you need a radio show, doesn't mean I need to walk out here and create a radio show.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not where I am right now, because that's going to knock off all the other goals that I'm focused on right now. And now my distraction is trying to be on the radio or create a radio show because a stranger told me that I would do it on the radio.
Yeah.
When the goals, your real goals that behind closed doors nobody knows, are you trying to buy a house? You trying to buy your mama a Range Rover? Like things that are
already coming down the pipeline. Like
but things that actually like mean something. Not just to say you're doing a radio show just to get 100K followers.
No, a prime example is when I sold women's accessories, the leg glove, and I would have people that would see like my post and be like, oh, you should do this in red with fur down the side. Or, oh, you should do this. like all different kinds of suggestions, right? And then you're like, okay, these are my customers, right? These are my future customers, so let me try to cater to them. I started making what they wanted. Did they buy? Ask me, did they buy? No. So that was when I was like, I cannot listen to people, because they could be bored and tell you something. And they're not invested in it at all. They don't got nothing to do with it. And you start accommodating them before they've even made a true investment in your life or your career, and then you've done it for no reason.
It just all ties back into having good judgment of who and who not to listen to.
Yes.
Because I'm listening to y'all two all day. You know, so that's a given, but I can't say that. I can't say the same for just somebody I met a week ago who knows nothing about the Milan behind closed doors, the Milan that's not attached to global entry, that's not attached to an artist, that's not attached, because you just don't know me.
And it's like you get the advice from so many people because you're networking, you know. They may think of you, so they send you a text like, hey, I think you should be on this project. And I hate to throw like little examples, but it's like, I'm gonna put what I like that you said on the shelf and keep it. And then the rest of it, I'm just not gonna listen to
Throw it away.
because it doesn't work. It may work 10 years down the line, 7 years down the line, here we are, you're on this show. But it was on the shelf because I thought it was some value to it. And everything else, I'm not going to clutter my brain.
And you knew that there was value. You knew how to have discernment on what's valuable and what's not, based on the fact that you already had a goal set for yourself. So you're able to like reflect back on your foundation and be like, this works, this doesn't. Versus you not having no goal, and then you're like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I'm a podcaster.
Have you ever had a mentor?
Yeah, I've had a lot of mentors.
Okay.
So from college, I've had mentors. Sorority sisters have been mentors. My little sister has been a mentor. Like people of all ages. My grandmother, just everybody. Friends, strangers, homeless people, telling me different things about how they choose to be in this life, and it's not something that like they fell into. It was a choice. Living downtown Atlanta, like I was talking to homeless people, like
that really is a thing.
Trying to understand.
Because some people want to be off the grid. They want to be out of the matrix. They want to stop paying all these ridiculous bills. I just want to be in nature.
And here we are thinking like, oh my God.
Or something wrong with them.
Yeah,
or
like,
no.
Some of them are totally fine.
That needs to be a whole documentary.
Yeah.
On people that I'm sure there probably is. But I haven't ever thought about being homeless, but I definitely have thought about like scaling all the way back and just like seeing what that would feel like, because the rat race is really racy.
Yeah, it's a really
Oh.
So I know, so on Women of TmrO, we like to talk about and get into like, you have all this amazing stuff going on now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? When you say the woman you're positioning yourself to be for tomorrow, and that can be anything, relationships, financial, businesses, family. What does that look like for Tisha? 3 to 5.
3 to 5 years.
Ooh, okay, well, I am doing it for my future kids. Like I don't have kids right now, but I can just envision myself having like some little people running around. And that's my why behind it. Like I want a strong foundation, a family, a husband. I do see myself owning my own company within the next 3 to 5 years fully, just being 100% zoned into it.
Yeah.
I've become an introvert, so where I like to be at home. So like my dream house would be very much interior design, bring all my interior design friends in one room and let's get it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately just spiritually strong. And really just having good relationships with my family and friends, because that's what it's about. So of course, like all the other things will come, but just I want to create this house for my family and friends to feel safe. I want to build this community to where it's like, okay, I can call on Tisha. She may not know the answer, but she can put me in that place to find the answer with someone else. Whether that's us gathering and my kids be running around the pool, Milan, y'all be over, and it's just fun, and it's not always so serious and deep. Because I feel like I've been so hard in my 20s, because I'm getting ready to transition into 30, to where it's like I need to just breathe and like live and see it through.
Yeah.
So hopefully healthy relationship, spiritually just sound, understanding who I am.
Yeah.
And then also having a home to where my friends can come over still and talk, chat, do whatever. And it may sound simple, but I feel like it's taking a lot
important.
to get there.
Yeah.
And it's so important. So
the simple things are what so much of our generation is like missing right now. Like just how you were speaking earlier, well, I guess it's national news that the young lady who like committed suicide, she had like the an ideal job, right, as an influencer, and then obviously something wasn't right. She was not happy, fulfilled, or feeling good about it. And I see that so much where there's people who have like reached this like pinnacle of financial success or career success, and they literally have nothing. Even like we've seen like the story of Steve Jobs, like how he died ill and without family. And that's not how, like, I'm really holistic. Like, let's get it all, let's work on it all at one time, so that when I do reach this success, I also have my health, my mind, my heart, people around me.
And I feel like community has been changed. The definition of community has changed, where it's like social media community, like all these followers and all of this stuff is not real community. Like you could have
Okay.
hundreds of Ks of followers, millions of followers. And you look at celebrities, they're like stars. And they talk about being the loneliest person.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have my community of people in my arm's reach, whether you're like in California, in New York, wherever you're at, and I can call on you to have that community. And we can forget about the numbers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because those people just like the way I look
Yeah.
from what I post.
Or
Yeah.
what you do.
Or what I do, yeah, or how I can help them get to where they want to be, which is cool. But at the same time, I want those people who know me in my community and feel like I'm strong in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
That's what this platform is for, to like dig in, talk about all that, what's missing on the like highlight reels of Instagram and other social media.
What you all are doing is definitely impactful, for sure. Like, super
Thank
impactful.
you.
Because it's not only getting people to tell their stories, but it's also pushing that glass ceiling to where it's like what real people are thinking.
Yeah.
And I can say whatever I said today, and that's going to help somebody tomorrow as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's not only me. And I think when you step out of self, that's when you create beautiful things. And
Yeah.
that's when that one tree becomes multiple trees. And
Yeah.
it's a village of people who are vibrating off the same waves and same sounds.
Yeah,
That's deep.
it starts with us like being transparent enough to let someone know you're not alone for thinking that.
Yeah.
It's, you know, my success doesn't come from me being perfect. It comes from just me, I guess, keeping going.
Keep going.
Yeah.